Hey everybody, I'm here with Tesla FSD 12.3.6. We've got a new version 12.4 coming next week, but this is the latest version we have. I'm running it on a Hardware 3 Model S, and we're going to go run to the Apple Store to check out their new iPads, maybe pick one up to review. But first, I'm really excited to tell you about our sponsor for the week. The Adventures of Starman has a new comic out, Shadows Over Mars. So go to shadowsovermars.com to join the Kickstarter now. I just joined the Kickstarter for the $99 package, which has the latest comic and a bunch of other extras. But you can contribute much less than that and also get a comic too. So definitely go check out shadowsovermars.com. I mean, I've been buying these Starman comics since the beginning. They're really awesome. Amazing stories, amazing illustrations. Eli, the guy behind him, is just a great guy, great member of the Tesla community. And it's really about, Starman. If you remember that Falcon Heavy launch where they launched the Roadster with Starman into space. And just keeping that story alive, telling the story of Starman. And it's great if you have kids. You can read it to your kids. It's great even if you don't have kids. It's pretty entertaining to read by yourself. So definitely check out shadowsovermars.com and please support the Kickstarter. All right, well, let's get started. So just one button push, and it should now take us to the Apple Store, which is about 12 miles and half an hour away. It's around 9:30 a.m. You're going to have your typical morning traffic. So we'll see how FSD is able to handle that. We're going to need to make a left turn here. We've got a truck coming. Nice, it waited for the truck. And now we're going to turn right onto Hawthorne Boulevard. Looks like it's all clear. And there we go. So we got some interesting news about 12.4 last night. 12.3 is already getting pretty good, to the point where I now expect it to take us the entire way there without any interventions. It's normal now. As a matter of fact, I did a few delivery trips for Conroy's Flowers, and about 75% of the rides were zero intervention. So I think probably there's a better chance than not that this drive will be zero intervention too. Meaning I don't have to do anything. I'll just sit here and watch and supervise the system. And the software will actually do all the driving for me and get me all the way into the parking lot of the Apple Store mall. So it's pretty profound that it can already work this well. But Elon said in a post on X last night that they're actually seeing miles per intervention improve by 5x to 10x. So imagine it actually getting 5 to 10 times better than this in terms of miles per intervention. I mean, this is going to be a huge update. They're removing the nag, so you won't have to touch the steering wheel anymore. You'll probably still be recommended to, but the cabin camera is just so good right now that they can just turn that off. And when miles per intervention is 5 to 10 times higher, I mean, the steering wheel nag then is probably just causing more crashes than it's preventing. So that's going to be really exciting, them removing the nag. It'll work basically just like this, what you're seeing in this video, where it's just monitoring my eyes, monitoring my attention, but in terms of my hands, I can kind of do whatever, just rest them. And it's just a game changer when you realize the car's moving and you're not actually required to touch anything to make that happen. It's a crazy experience to just sit here and have your car take you wherever you ask it to. Then there's a few other things. He said that in 12.5 we're going to be going single stack again. So the highway is going to be going end to end. That should result in a big jump in highway performance, similar to what we saw on city streets. We also know that 12.5, which is supposed to come out around June, which, knowing Elon's timelines, will probably be July or August. that's also going to support the Cybertruck. So that's going to be huge. I love my Cybertruck, but it definitely hurts to not have FSD. I can't really drive any vehicle that doesn't have FSD. So I find that even though I love the Cybertruck, for a lot of my daily drives, I'm picking the Model S because it has FSD. So that's going to be really exciting for the Cybertruck to get that. Another little nugget that Elon dropped is that, there had been some data going around that suggested that only about 2% of the free trials were actually subscribing or purchasing FSD. And Elon said it's actually much higher than that. So that's a good sign. I think if they got it to around 10 to 20%, that would be a huge success. 20% would mean the user base doubled. And, 10% would mean the user base increased by 50%. They sent out 1.8 million trials, or there's 1.8 million people who are going to get the free trials. I think at the earnings call they said they had sent about 900,000 out of those, or something like that, or maybe 900,000 people had actually turned it on. But yeah, even for okay, I'm gonna have to press the accelerator here because the speed's going too low. I've learned that pressing the accelerator when it reads that truck speed limit sign as a normal speed limit sign, you can hold down the accelerator to override it. So now we don't have to drive really slow, which is great. But that was an intervention technically. Although, I could have just not done it and we would have just driven slower, which isn't really unsafe per se. It would go about 38. It's a 45. So just a little bit slow if I didn't intervene. But I like to intervene to give them the data so that they know about the issue. So yeah, there'd been some data, I think Yipit data that suggested, it was 2%. He said it's much higher than that. So, I mean, it could really increase the number of users, double the number of users, increase it by 50%. And this is only the start, now you've planted the seed of FSD in their mind. They know about it. They've probably tried it. They'll subscribe again for a road trip. They'll subscribe again when they see a new feature, and they'll be a customer again. So I think you look at the market reaction today, they clearly haven't processed all of this. It kind of went in one ear and out the other. But there will probably be a market reaction in a few days when the people who do actually understand it explain it to the people who make capital allocation decisions on Wall Street. Alright, next up we're going to be making a left turn onto Pacific Coast Highway in 3/4 of a mile. We're entering Torrance now, getting out of Palos Verdes. So that's a good tip that I didn't know about until just recently. If your car reads the wrong speed limit sign, like for example, going down that hill, there's signs that say truck speed limit 25 and the normal speed limit's 45. For years I've had issues with FSD reading those signs. And it used to go down to 25, now at least with auto speed it's smart enough to go about 38, so it's not as bad. But I just learned that you can hold down the accelerator to override that lower speed. So that's really handy. For a lot of people, they probably had to turn the system off. This allows you to avoid doing that. All right, we're gonna make a left turn onto Pacific Coast Highway, which is right here. It was able to get into the left turn lane nicely. We got the green arrow. Ah, come on. Stupid car. Stopping at yellow lights. Alright, we got the green arrow. You noticed how it saw that bus that basically ran the light a little bit too late, and it paused and waited for it. That's pretty smart. Now we've got a merge coming up with this bus. It just kind of scooted by. I would have maybe changed lanes there, but I guess the bus ended up pulling over. Next, we're going to be making a right turn onto Prospect Avenue in 1.3 miles. All right. I like how quickly it responds to the green light. It notices that the light is green before you do. Okay, good. That guy didn't get in our way. Good level of speed here. It's a 40 mile per hour zone. It's going about 46, which is, I think, a perfect speed. Not too slow, not too fast. Very appropriate given the wide open road we're looking at here. Alright, looks like we got a little bit of construction up ahead on the right hand side. It says right lane closed ahead. And it smoothly goes around it. Very nice. No problem at all. Alright, slowing down for a car making a right turn. And now we are going to make a right turn in a quarter of a mile. Oh look, there's one of the new Model 3s. Alright, looks nice. And here's where we're going to make a right turn as soon as we can. Okay, wow. Wow. I wouldn't have expected it to make a turn that was so tight. As a matter of fact, I didn't even think that there was room for us to go with that truck and everything. So that was pretty good driving. Again, kind of better than what I would have done, probably. I probably would have just waited. Alright, we got a flashing red light here. This has been problematic for other versions of 12. But looks like we've mastered it. Very nice. Alright, this will be a good test. I remember it really messing up on this street before. Actually, no, this one's easy because you can't really see the light in front of you. But it's good that it's handling all the flashing reds now. We're going to be driving on this road for 2.5 miles and then making a left onto Anita Street. Let's see, what's this other route it's proposing for us? That looks interesting too. Should we take that route? Looks like it has a little less traffic. Traffic's really boring for a video, so maybe we'll just go take that route. Onto Aviation. So now we're going to make a right turn onto Aviation Boulevard in 3 miles. Really nice, smooth, comfortable drive here. Just a game changer for commuting. You worry about yourself. It handles all the little details of driving. You just give it broad instructions, you make corrections if it does anything you wouldn't do, or if it's not doing something right, and it just takes you where you need to go. We got a green light. I mean, I have a hard time imagining a version of FSD that's 10 times better than this. I mean, we're really getting into robotaxi territory. I think Waymo in their test fleet has about 18,000 miles per intervention, and it's about 80,000 for their driverless fleet in California, according to data they've submitted to regulators. You can find that online on the California website. So, you know, I think this version's at maybe 300 miles per critical disengagement. And, you know, if they could get that to 1,500 to 3,000, that's, you know, you're getting within spitting distance of the numbers Waymos are putting up. So, you know, if you 10x'd it again, 5 to 10x'd it again, you'd be ahead of Waymo. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're actually going to leapfrog them. And then the amazing thing is you can just take this in Germany, it works. You can take it into Moldova, it works. You can take it into China, it works. Without a bunch of retraining, it just understands the basics of, okay, there are cars around me, don't hit the cars. There's a road surface, stay on the road surface. Don't hit the curb, stay between the lane lines. The basics are really pretty universal. A lot of parked cars on the side of the road here. Somebody's flashing their lights. The car's just expertly offsetting and going around them. No problem. It's just capable of much smoother, more comfortable rides than I can do myself. The way it just stays perfectly in the lane, the smoothness of the acceleration and braking, it's just at a level where it's hard for the human to match. And I mean, I can't even remember the last time I had to take over for something safety critical. It's getting very rare. So the interventions you do have are, for example, okay, they read the speed limit sign wrong. It's gonna go a few miles per hour slow if I don't press the accelerator, which isn't even critical. It would have made the drive just fine without that, just as, slightly slower. So as long as you can get the critical disengagements down, the safety critical stuff where the driver has to intervene to prevent a crash, the other stuff can be handled remotely. Right, kind of a winding road here. No problem for FSD, of course. Problem for Mercedes, maybe. Problem for FSD, no. Yeah, I mean, you look at these cars, and this is hardware 3. It's looking like millions of cars might actually be able to drive themselves. They said, oh, Elon's lying. He's full of shit. There's no way. Well, how do you explain this? Hardware 3 driving this well. Who saw this coming? Who was a naysayer? Who said, well, it's going to get really good. It's going to be able to do, hundreds of miles without intervention, but it'll still never be driverless. Nobody predicted that. So, I mean, you look at this, you look at the millions of cars they have, their ability to achieve scale for a driverless network, I think, relatively quickly. Not just because of their fleet, but because of their manufacturing footprint. It's really looking like probably they're going to add trillions of dollars in market cap if this actually works. You look at this, you look at Optimus, a general purpose humanoid that could basically do anything, right? So it's not just about automating driving anymore, but if you can train a model to drive and it can do it better than a human, well, what tasks can it not do? That's kind of unclear. What can it not do? If it can automate driving, probably any task a human can do, you could train the robot to do it better. So now you've just got this robot. It's an expert on everything. It has all the world's knowledge condensed into some type of AI model, an LLM, whatever you want to call it. And it has all kinds of skills, and you can just talk to it, tell it to do things, and it can just do it like an expert. You need help hanging a picture on the wall, it can do it in a beautiful way. You need help with your toilet, it'll unclog your toilet, whatever. Anything it doesn't know how to do, it can look it up and learn within a few seconds using the internet. I mean, this is obviously a product that is going to be in every home and business, I think, if it was real. And there's good reason to believe they could make it real, because, again, look at the driving. Look at how reliable it is, and how reliable it's becoming. A robot can be that reliable too, I think, in terms of walking. You'll see a robot walking on the street the same way you see people walking on the street today. And it won't fall. It won't get hit by a car. It'll probably actually be better at walking than a human. Alright, here's another stop sign. And we got a car pulled over. In about a quarter of a mile, we're going to turn right onto Aviation Boulevard. Lots of stop signs here. Alright, we're getting closer now. I think that's Aviation Boulevard over there. So we're dipping into the right turn lane. Nicely done. Someone on their bike approaching, someone getting into that plaza there, and it just handled it all smoothly. Next we're going to make a left turn onto Marine Avenue in 2 miles. And then we're going to be pretty close to our destination at that point. We're about 3.3 miles away. A lot of curves in the road here. Looks like we got a truck that stopped on the right side. We got people making a right turn. The car handles it all smoothly. Looks like we got someone trying to get out the parking lot. The car offsets naturally for it. Very good. I would maybe get into the left turn lane here, but I think it saw this car coming. Ah, come on. So annoying when it stops at a yellow light that it easily could have gone for. Alright, we got cars jumping out. No hesitation from the system. It's gotten a little bit better at that. Before it was really always braking hard when it saw yellow. Now, sometimes it'll go, but it's still leaning a little bit too hard on stopping at yellows. I would suggest maybe that could be something where the chill average assertive could change its behavior a little bit. Alright, 1 mile away from Marine Avenue. Alright, we're finally changing lanes over to the left. There was a lot of traffic and obstacles and people getting in and out of the road on the right side, so I probably would have moved over to the left lane sooner. But, you know, minor thing. Wow, that was pretty cool. The car just saw someone trying to get into the left turn lane and that we were blocking their way into the lane. So it moved forward a little bit so that they could get into the lane. That's really amazing. Normally you think, okay, it stopped at a stop sign, it's just stopped, it's not doing anything. But it was actually still looking behind it. And I didn't even see that the guy was trying to get into the left turn lane, but it did. And moved and let him avoid missing that light. Pretty incredible. FSD just made a big difference in that guy's day. Well, not a big difference, but a little difference. Here's Northrop Grumman on the right. And we're going to be making a left turn onto Marine Avenue right up ahead. All right. The cool thing about just seeing this huge lineup of Teslas everywhere is they're all going to be running FSD. Many of them already are with the free trial. That's what really sets this thing apart. You know, Waymo, sure, that's great, but they're going to have a few cars. This could change the streets overnight. The impact, if it can really reduce crashes, is, you know, times 6 million. So maybe, you know, hundreds of thousands of times greater impact than Waymo. Just in terms of the number of cars it can transform. And if you can safely drive a car with just computer vision, that completely changes the cost structure. That allows us to get to a point where this technology can be in Asia, Africa, South America, places where a lot of fatalities happen. So it really means everything to have a solution that's so simple and cost effective. All right, I think we're going to make a right turn right in here, and the Apple store is right in this mall, Manhattan Village. Very nice. All right, we got a speed bump up ahead. Took that a little too fast. It was about 15. All right, we got a guy crossing the street. Pauses, waits for them. Very nice. Okay. Slowing down because somebody was loading their car. Didn't really need to do that. But they were kind of walking towards the car, so that's probably why they thought they might cross in front. And I think when there's a crosswalk, it's a little bit more permissive. All right, here we got a speed bump that it is actually slowing down for. 8, that's more appropriate. So about half the speed it took that first speed bump. I think kind of like unconventional speed bumps like this, it doesn't see as easily. All right, this one it is slowing down for. And there you go. We're here at the Apple store, and FSD drove us entirely here. Now check this out. We're in a lineup of 3 Teslas right now. So we're pulling over to the side. Check this out. There's one Tesla. There's another Tesla. So all of these are going to be running the software if they're not already. So there you have it. This thing drove us all the way here. No interventions required, essentially. There were those 2 accelerator presses I did going down the hill to make it speed up, but like I said, it would have still gotten here. Even if I didn't do that, it just would have gone a little bit slower. So, pretty incredible what the software can do. And now we're getting a version that's supposedly 5 to 10 times better next week. So we'll have the latest on 12.4 as it drops. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out shadowsovermars.com. Please join the Kickstarter and support Eli and support the Adventures of Starman comics. These are great things to have. Honestly, I think one day they're going to be collectibles and they're going to be very highly sought after. So make sure to get your copy now at shadowsovermars.com. Thanks for watching, everybody.